Existence is a miracle. But the reality of human existence can be brutal. The natural world is ruthless. A baby bird gets eaten by a hawk on its first flight. The life of an ant ends abruptly beneath a human footstep. Endometriosis affects 1 in 10 women with varying severity. For some, it's debilitating. Presently, there is no cure, and despite being considered by the NHS as one of the 20 most excruciating conditions in the world, there's no government support when pain makes work impossible. It's a full-body disease caused by endometrial tissue that grows outside of the uterus, yet commonly dismissed as just period pain, and originally hysteria. Endometriosis is one of the most misunderstood and misdiagnosed diseases in human history, which over centuries has subjected women to incessant physical, social, and psychological ostracism. I believe I am responsible for my level of suffering in the face of any adversity. It is my choice to be the victim or the warrior. But as intent as I have been to push through and revolve my life around choices that support the highest quality of health and vitality, I've finally surrendered to the reality that there's an extent beyond which I have no control over this disease. For 10 years, I didn't know my illness had a name. After years of doctor's appointments that left me feeling crazy, suggesting that the pain is all in my head, I started to dismiss it myself. And I also refused to be defined by illness at that point. I adopted a soldier-on mentality, and for the years following, I don't think my closest friends even knew of the internal battle that I fought. I think there was a lot of shame around being weak-bodied and confusion around not knowing why. But then it escalated to the point where I just couldn't hide it anymore. If there's one thing about female hormones that I've learned through this, it's that they really don't respond well to the chronic stress of soldiering on. My story is shockingly common. On average, from the onset of symptoms, it takes 8 years for someone to be diagnosed with endometriosis. And even then, the treatment options are very limited and often associated with page-long lists of side effects. Sometimes I wonder how many people suffer in silence, like I did and often still do. Chronic illnesses aren't rare. They're often just invisible. And and that can make it really isolating. There's a very real experience of grief that can be accompanied with the sense of loss of not just health and vitality, but everything that's associated with being able-bodied. It affects our careers, our relationships, our ability to be there for the people we love, to enjoy social events, and our dreams and plans for the future in sometimes quite dramatic ways. Some days are just perfect, but others feel like you've been hit by a bus and you're pulling yourself through mud, surrounded by a heavy fog, and your insides feel like they're being ripped apart. And you can't fight it. It doesn't work. All you can do is surrender. When one is alone in a dark room and forced by a dysfunctional body into long periods of stillness and silence, it can feel as if the intelligence that carved our world was not cruel to embed illness into the fabric of it. For me, it's become an opportunity to slow down, stop, and dissolve like a tear back into the ocean. It's here that one discovers a vibrant vitality of spirit within that's non-reliant on any external circumstance, and an inner reverence for the simplest of things. We all return to dust. Our time here is precious. So much of it gets wasted in dream states, fearing, worrying, desiring, and anticipating a future that's ultimately outside of our control. Why do we exhaust ourselves seeking love and validation from external sources, when the only contentment that is true and lasting is within? Our energy is our life force, and our body the vessel through which it is channeled. When the body is chronically fatigued by the ongoing war that a disease like endometriosis reaps on our system, one learns to respect energy. Wisdom is knowing when to burn it and when to preserve it. Instead of wasting resources on trivia, one learns to strip right back, only spending physical and mental energy on what is most valuable, to stop dancing in the leaves and return to the root of what's most important in life. Existence is a miracle. Every cell, atom, and organism functions in impeccable harmony. When we lean too far forward into the material world, we can forget the miracle of our own existence. Is that intelligence alone not something to revere? The mind computes a fraction of reality, yet we spend most of our lives grinding it, limited by it. In Western societies, we're taught to value material success, progress, aesthetic beauty, global recognition, and financial gain. Endometriosis has taught me to value stillness, silence, simplicity, and the people around me. In the end, all we have is the vibrancy of our spirit. No silver lining can discount the day-to-day reality of living with shocking levels of pain. Women across the globe are pushed to their limits by this disease. But if existence has a voice, one of its languages is suffering. Our bodies communicate through pain. I do believe that endometriosis calls each of us to listen deeply to those silent messages, And if we do sincerely, it can be transformative. Some days, I curse it from fetal position. I look up at the sky and I ask why. For others, I revere the wisdom and the resilience that have been cultivated, not in spite of the disease, but because of it.